Who is Jesus? 13. Did Jesus know everything about everything? Did Jesus know everything about everything? Well, that is also the hypothesis of St. Thomas Aquinas, and he explains it like this: Jesus is the principle of everything, which gives the truth and the eternal Word made flesh. And it is his humanity that is the instrument by which he communicates science to men. Consequently, says St. Thomas Aquinas, he must be fully aware of all that can be known in many ways. St. Thomas first says by the beatific vision, seeing his divine essence, he sees all that God sees, including what will happen later as our existence. He dies for us by knowing us. Secondly, according to St. Thomas, he has an infused knowledge of all that which can be expressed and which is given by God by grace. A little like the angels receive at their creation the sciences of all that they will have to do. So science, physics, chemistry, but also the gospel. And then, that does not prevent that it can acquire by its experiment, by its senses like a small child who grows, a learned science, and also by the teaching of his parents. And all this is added to make the wealth of Jesus. Well, I think we can say that this assumption of St. Thomas is not necessary. What Christ needs in his human intelligence for his mission is only salvation. So, what about heaven and how to go to heaven? Nuclear physics, the chemistry of the elements, it is useless for its mission. He does not need to receive it in the form of infused science, or even in the form of acquired science. Besides, there is evidence that in his humanity Jesus did not want these sciences. At one point he gives a parable that comes from his acquired knowledge. He says, "Look at the birds of the sky, they do not sow or reap, but our heavenly Father feeds them." The reality is that this acquired knowledge is false, because some birds by the thousands die in the winter because they have no reserves, and it is useful to give them some food to avoid there is a hecatomb when the cold weather comes. It does not matter if there is something there that is true, the birds do not reap. But there is something also that shows that their fate is not easy, because the purpose of the parable is not to give a scientific truth, it is to give something about salvation to know. Do not worry, God is preparing your soul. He will lead you to salvation. He knows what He's doing with you.